Today we are going to talk about the iPhone 16 Pro and the 16 Pro Max because it's basically the same phone, just the one is bigger, but more so about my experience of it because I purchased this phone with a real hype for not only the camera button, but the 4K 120. But now that I've been using it for a little bit more than 2 months, how good is it really? So for those of you that haven't been here on the channel, my name is Peter and I'm running sort of like a tech-oriented /vlog /filmmaking kind of channel. And if that is your jam, welcome. Hope we're gonna have a good time here together, va? And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe and all that good stuff, va? What I got here is the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and this phone was something that got bashed on a whole lot. I think that there was a lot of people that was expecting a lot more, but for someone that is doing filmmaking, this was actually one of the phones that I've been looking forward to a whole lot. One of the main things, I guess, was because it has a dedicated camera button that you can see right here. And you probably already know this, but when you touch it, it sort of like unlocks the camera. I've set it so that it opens up the Blackmagic camera app, but you can also just swipe on your iPhone to do the same thing, so it's not actually really that necessary. And the thing that I was looking forward to the most, I guess, was to have this sort of half-pressed shutter button. For example, if you look at a camera like this, which is the Sony Alpha series, then you can see that on the shutter button here, you have sort of like a half press. And when I press that, you can feel that it sort of like goes down, but it doesn't actually click. And that was something that I wanted to have in the iPhone as well. But you only have one click and the rest is sort of like haptic feedback with the touch. So as you can see here, when I put my finger down and press, we get the option to swipe between the cameras, which is also a thing that we're gonna dive into pretty soon. But basically, you don't have the focus button as I would like it to be. So the way that Apple did it instead is that it made a touch interface with haptic feedback because you can feel it vibrate ever so slightly whenever you're using this button. And I gotta be honest, as a photographer and videographer, it is great to be able to have all the settings available at your fingertips. But the downside though is that you need to swipe between the different options. And most of the time, you can see here when I'm trying to swipe, it doesn't actually work as it is intended. So if you're trying to work with this on a fast shoot or you're trying to like move around quickly, I would actually say that it's gonna be faster for you to move between the different lenses with just pushing your finger here or even holding and then just moving around like that. It's gonna give you better results. It's gonna make the exposure a little bit more locked in. And it's gonna make it much easier than to actually use the camera button that they promoted so hard. So all in all, when it comes to the experience of actually using this camera button here, I'm gonna say that I would probably love this phone more if it wasn't there. But the next thing that I was super hyped about when it comes to this phone was the 4K 120. And let me tell you, it is actually really impressive. Some of you might have seen the video that I shot together with my friend David, where we made sort of like a epic cinematic B-roll together with drinks while we were making a drink. In the beginning, I was a little bit doubtful if the iPhone would actually be able to capture good enough footage to be able to make a video like that. But now that we've shot it, I think it looks freaking awesome. I'm gonna roll it right now so you can see what the iPhone is actually capable of. So now you might be thinking, well, I'm gonna be able to buy an iPhone and shoot like that. Well, both yes and no. I've been doing filmmaking for quite some time and I know all the ins and outs about using a camera when it comes to making videos. I'm shooting in a picture profile that is called log, and if you sort of like remove the color weighting, it's gonna look something like this, which is very hard to work with for a beginner. And if you want to maximize the quality coming out of your camera on the iPhone, you got to use a third-party app that is called Blackmagic Cinema Camera. I think it's called a Blackmagic Camera app. But if you use that app, you're going to be able to shoot in log, you're going to be able to shoot in ProRes, and you're going to be able to import that into Final Cut Pro or any other editing software and sort of like do the post-processing there. If you don't use those high-end video functions with your phone, then I'm going to say that 4K 120 is going to be a fun addition to your phone, absolutely, but it's not going to be something that is necessary. For the entirety of last year, I was using the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I never once felt that I needed to have 4K 120 in the phone. The thing that I use it the most for now is to actually shoot a little bit of B-roll whenever I'm out and about, you know, flying my drone or shooting with camera. And then I sort of like need to have some detailed shots off the camera or maybe shoot the lens so I sort of like capture some nice frames, and be able to slow that down when you jump into the editing process is something that I think is key. So in that sense, I do love the fact that the iPhone comes with 4K 120. But do I regret buying this phone now that I've been using it for quite some time? I'm gonna say yes. I do actually regret spending the money on it because I don't feel that I need it, but as a work tool and as a secondary camera that is always in my pocket, I do feel that it gives me a lot of value when I'm out and about running around. Also, whenever I pick up my phone, I put it like this on the table, right? And I grab it like this. And every single time I manage to press the button. And then when you're fiddling around with it in your pocket and then you sort of like press it multiple times and then all of a sudden you start in a recording, that is like making no sense. So again, this is just my short-term thoughts after using it for approximately 2 months. I'm gonna continue to use this phone and I'm gonna see if I actually like it more. But as of right now, I feel like it was basically just, you know, I could have stayed with the old one. It's gonna be the same. 4K 120, could get that in buying a new camera, and that would be it. But it is actually really neat to be able to have that 4K 120 in my pocket. But I would love to know, what is your thoughts on the iPhone 16 Pro Max? Do you think that camera button is a gimmick, or do you think it's great? I'm gonna say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I thought that this would be great, but it turns out that it's not. So yeah, do drop a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and all that good stuff, huh? Peter from Sweden. We'll see you in the next one. I'm gonna do it like this instead.